Yesterday I was unable to get to this news sooner, but we got some more Marvel DC crossover news. Yes, these will be more backup stories for the Batman Deadpool crossovers, and we got a good number of them, actually. We've got a few more to go through. I'm actually shocked of, like, how big this comic is. It's going to be a 65... Each... Apparently, both comics, Batman Deadpool and Deadpool Batman, are going to be 65 pages each. So I imagine it's going to be a like, what, $10, $15 book in total. But yeah, it's going to be worth it. It's the first Marvel DC crossover we've had in a long time. So I'm willing to put, the money in for it. But we did get the announcement of more backup stories. And some of them are really... a lot of them are really unique, like ones we really wanted to see. Ones we were not expecting to see. And I kind of like it. I kind of like that these Marvel DC crossovers aren't exactly, like, going for the typical ideas. Like, they're not going for the, regular... ideas. They're not going for the basic ones. They're going for, like, even Batman Deadpool was one no one really thought of. So I'm glad these, when Marvel and DC are now working together again, they're giving us crossovers that, while some we expected, others are, for the most part, kind of like outside the box. So I do like that. So starting off for the backup story, these are going to be the backup stories for the Grant Morrison Batman Deadpool crossover coming out in November, which, by the way, it still, like, shocks me to no end that Grant Morrison is writing a Batman Deadpool crossover. Anyway, so the first big one we got was Constantine and Doctor Strange. Yeah, not Dr. Fate and Doctor Strange, but Constantine, which I like a little more because both Stephen and John are kind of flawed sorcerers in their own right. As much as Stephen likes to play by the book, he does kind of bend the rules every so often. And John, of course, is the regular rule breaker. This is going to be written by Scott Snyder, who has apparently been dying to write this comic forever. Like, this has been, like, his golden boy crossover for a long time. I've never seen Scott Snyder write John Constantine or Doctor Strange when the brief time he was at Marvel. So this is going to be an interesting voice on a whole. I'm very curious to see how he's going to write... John and Stephen, especially playing off of each other. I think it's also been said that Nick Dragotta, who does the artwork for Absolute Batman, and Dragata's done a lot of other artwork for a lot of other people, but namely it's the creative team of Absolute Batman working on this book. So I'm rather curious to see how this is all going to play out at the end of the day. Anyway, moving on to to the next crossover, and this is a funny one. This is Hulk and Harley Quinn, which I think is being written by Amanda Connor, if I'm not mistaken. Hulk and Harley Quinn, the two you would not expect together, right? Like, you would in no way, shape, or form expect Hulk and Harley Quinn. It sounds like it's going to be more of a funny story, but yeah. That should be interesting, right? Like, no one thought of Hulk and Harley Quinn. If anything, everyone thought it was going to be Deadpool and Harley for that thing, right? So I think that's really cool. I think that's a really cool idea. It's a neat idea, and it sounds like a fun idea. I got nothing else to say. Then we have G. Willow Wilson and Derry Cross. I don't remember the other person's name, but G. Willow Wilson and this other person are collaborating to write a Static Miss Marvel crossover. Yeah, Static and Miss Marvel. Now, this is the one where I'm kind of like, man, I was kind of hoping for Miles and Static. Because while I did say, like, how much I've been enjoying these, like, out-of-the-box crossovers, like, I'm really loving the idea of having these wild, out-of-the-box crossovers that no one was expecting. Although there are some that I was like, okay, that made sense. And don't get me wrong, Miss Marvel and Static together is still a cool idea, especially written by G. Willow Wilson. I still think that's a really neat collab, but we all wanted Miles and Static, especially knowing how hard it is to do crossovers with milestone characters, knowing the Dwayne McDuffie estate and how they want to preserve those milestone characters. So yeah, I just feel like we should, like, Miles and Static, that's the one everyone's wanted. Even myself, we all want, when we saw this, like, oh yeah, Miles and Static need to meet. And not saying they won't. I'm not saying at any point if we get more Marvel DC crossovers, which we do know we're getting next year. Yeah, we do know we're getting more next year. We are... Maybe we'll get that down the road, but I was kind of hoping for sooner rather than later. But still, the idea of Static and Miss Marvel, Kamala and Virgil meeting and also working together, that's a cool idea in of itself. So I do appreciate that. Then we have our last one that I'm going to talk about, which I'm really excited for. All new Wolverine, aka X-23, aka Laura Kinney, teaming up with Nightwing. Yeah, Nightwing and X-23 are going to have a crossover, which is something like the daughter of Wolverine and the eldest son of Nightwing and the eldest son of Batman teaming up. That's a crossover no one expected, but I feel like that feels obvious, right? Like clone, the child of Wolverine and the child of Batman teaming up. And as an added bonus, we're also going to be getting another major part of it. Tom Taylor is writing it. Tom Taylor, who has had experience writing Nightwing and X-23. So, yeah, he knows these characters. So to have Tom Taylor come back to write Nightwing again, his award-winning run, I know some people had problems with his X-23 run. I know a lot of people said, yeah, his X-23 is not good, but still, he has a handle on the character. So I'm down for seeing Tom Taylor write more Nightwing and X-23. So yeah. Now, what's interesting, real quick, I'm going to have like a tinfoil hat moment real fast for all of you. What's rather interesting about all of this is that all of these backup crossovers don't involve Superman. Except for Krypto and meeting Jeff the Shark, no one of the Superman family is involved. Right? Like, that just sounds like a little odd, doesn't it? That, like, we're having all of these crossovers with these other characters, but Superman, the face of DC Comics, you could say Batman, it's Superman, is not in these crossovers. And we do know we're getting another big flagship crossover between Marvel and DC next year. So, I'm going to play a little tinfoil hat moment for you all. I think the next crossover is going to be involving Superman. Now, as to which Marvel character it could be, I don't know. But it does feel like Superman is the next one. If they're like, I just feel like, and maybe that's not the case, and maybe I'm just having a conspiracy moment, but like, it really does feel like the next big crossover will be with Superman. But who could be the other character? Maybe Thor. We haven't seen him in any of these crossovers, so maybe it's Superman and, like I said, Superman Thor, written by Jason Aaron. I mean, Jason Aaron is working at Marvel and DC, so that could be that could be it. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Like, I could be absolutely wrong, but it just feels like if they're not having Superman here, and you also no Thor either. I'm not saying Superman Thor is the next crossover, but it really does feel like the next crossover is more than likely going to be with Superman. Could it be another Spider-Man crossover? Could it be Thor? Who knows? But you guys tell me in the comments below. What do you guys think of all these new Marvel DC crossover backup stories? Which ones are you excited for the most? Which ones are you not excited for? Just comment below. And also, do you think Superman will be the next flagship of the Marvel DC crossovers? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.